I'm excited to welcome on one of the top rising stars in 2021, James Graham. What's going on today, bro?
What's up, my man? How you doing?
Pretty good, man. I mean, you're part of this 2021 class. The typical year right now would be obviously going on visits, being able to go play AU all year long. How you kind of adjusted this new kind of run, this new recruiting process?
It's been tough, not being able to go see schools and stuff, and that's big when it comes to narrowing my list and, committing and all that. But, I think it's something that, honestly is going to help me because I feel like now, like I get a chance to actually get to know the person who's going to be putting me in the game and the coaches and things like that. So, it's an adjustment, but it's something I'm willing to make.
I think that's the one perspective that a lot of guys are kind of being able to take out from this. I mean, like you said, you get to talk to the coaches. You might be able to see the campus and all that as you probably would like to, but you get to really know the coaches well. I mean, how have the conversations been
Yeah.
going? How have all the conversations been going with all the coaches?
Nah, man, they're going real well. I mean, of course they tell you what you want to hear.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, the real ones is the ones who tell you what what's real. So it's actually funny because you can actually see the fake ones from the real ones so easily, and it's something that makes me laugh a little bit just seeing the difference between coaches and people and things like that.
And you're one of the rare guys. I mean, a lot of guys have kind of had the recruitment slow down or even come to a stop because of not being able to play in games. You've been pulling on offers pretty much all this quarantine break from countless amount of schools. What's it been like continuing to pull on offers?
It's dope, man. It's a good feeling. But at the same time, I'm one of those people who like, if it was 100 schools, I want them all. I want all 100 of them. I take it and keep going. So that's my whole mindset. Just keep pushing and keep going.
And I said, I mean, you have countless amount of offers from a ton of high majors, mid majors, you have everything. How do you kind of plan to start narrowing this down? Kind of start coming to the main group you're going to start looking at.
Yes. So, I do plan on doing that. I think that, I've totally based my, recruitment on literally like how much I'm getting communicated with by certain coaches. So like the schools that are talking to me the most and the schools that are clearly putting in the most effort are the schools I'm going to narrow my list down to. Then from there, then I'll keep going.
When you look at all those schools you have right now, who would you say are some of the schools that have shown you some of the most interest in the past few months?
Uh, the schools that are talking to me the most are probably like that are consistently, pounding, my brain with their schools. It's probably like Vanderbilt, Maryland, Florida State, uh, Michigan State. So actually, to be honest with you, pretty much most of them do a really good job. But those are probably the couple that are still really sticking out and really pushing for me. Like Auburn as well, places like that.
I want to touch upon some of those programs. One of them, Michigan State. A lot of buzz is now coming with them, primarily because of who they just landed the other day on Monty Bates for the 2022 class.
Yeah.
Obviously, still going to be up in the air in terms of if
Mm-hmm.
it actually goes or not. But they have a great recruiting class with Pierre Brooks already in your class. What would it be like to possibly form a group with them, and what would it be like to possibly play under a legendary coach like Tom Izzo?
Yeah, man, that'd be great. Michigan State's always, somewhere in the Sweet 16 final, Elite Eight Final Four range. So, they're like a blue blood. They're big. Coach Izzo is a great coach, arguably top five. So he's legendary. He's obviously proven. He's produced pros, and to get to the next level, you want to play for a coach like that.
You have kind of the blue blood coaches, the coaches that have proven Hall of Fame ballot coaches, as well as some younger coaches that are kind of starting to get their name out there. For you, what kind of stuff do you prioritize when you're looking at a coach, and how do you differentiate between the two?
It's a good question. So, proven coach obviously is going to help you, get to the next level. But I kind of want to start something of my own. So go to a school with a new coach, with a newer coach, and start something. Yeah, I mean that's how you differentiate. It just depends on what you want. Do you want to start something or you want to continue something?
One of those programs you also listed is Florida State, which is a program that if you're a small forward, power forward, you run that forward position, it's something that a lot of guys are attracted to because they put in the last 3 or 4 years a constant guy going to the league at those positions. When you see a coach like what Coach Hamilton is able to do out there, how much more appealing does that make to see a coach that can put guys in the NBA year in year out at your position?
Yeah, so Florida State's big on me. I'm big on them. Coach Ham's proven, man. Especially at my position. Two guys, Devin Vassell and Pat going in the first round this year from at my position. So that's big to me. I mean, yeah, you can have proven pros. You can be a proven coach. And you can produce like guards and centers and all that stuff. But like, what about that middle position? I think that's the most important position. Playing for a coach, guys them in the places to score and let them show their mismatches, things like that is big. And, you know, it's obviously something I think about.
Absolutely. And another school you listed in there is Auburn, a school that really shocked a lot of people last year, led them now obviously getting Sharif Cooper, and a lot of other big-time guys are now looking at them. How much more appealing is Auburn after seeing what they've been able to do the past couple of years?
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, it makes them all the more appealing. But at the same time, the Auburn was very appealing to me because, you know, just the history coach the Pearl family has in my state, and with like my coaches, like, you know, they recruited my high school coach. You know, Coach Pearl's son played for my AAU coach. So, like, you know, and they just love the system. You know, all my coaches and my family members do. So Auburn big on my, in a sense of, you know, they've been here and they've been, you know, around my family for a long time.
And a lot of these schools are kind of spread out across all over America, kind of. When it comes down to your decision, is staying relatively close to home, does that have any kind of impact on your ultimate decision?
Nah, I mean, my parents are all about, you know, making my decision, and I don't, you know, take necessarily like their opinions too much into consideration. I mean, of course, my parents would like me for me to stay fairly close, but they said it's all about the fit. You know, I 100% agree with that. You know, if my fit's, you know, 400 miles away or 2 miles away, you know, that's where I'm gonna be.
And when you're a guy that's constantly rising up, I mean, just a couple year or so ago, you weren't necessarily as well known. You've been pulling these offers in the past year. Rankings have been going up. What's the next level for you? I mean, you've been blowing up recently. What's the next level you think you're capable of reaching?
Yeah, man. Honestly, I feel the only reason I was ranked top 60 is just because they haven't seen me enough. You know, haven't seen me play enough. Honestly, I feel I'm a top 30, top 25 kid. To be honest with you, just the way how I play, how versatile I am. So, you know, the next push for me is definitely getting that 5-star range, McDonald's All-American type game, type range, because I definitely feel I'm capable.
And I want to kind of go through your high school career so far. Obviously, you're at Nicollet. You've had a lot of change recently, but you've had a lot of big-time moments as well. I mean, it's kind of take us through your year. I mean, I want to start with the freshman year. It's obviously you, it's Kobe, you have Jalen Johnson, you have Jamari. What's that first year like, kind of getting adjusted to the high school way?
Yeah. So my freshman year, I went to USM, and of course, I transferred to Nicollet. My sophomore year with Jalen, Jamari, and Kobe, and all of them. So, you know, that first year the first year was kind of funny because I came off the bench the first half of the year because, you know, my attitude and things like that. But then once we start clicking and once I started getting it, you know, I started starting, of course. And then we just, you know, went on that amazing run to the state championship, which was so dope. You know, winning that state championship, that's a feeling I'll never forget. You know, I think I only had like 10 points that game. But at the same time, though, I felt like I accomplished something. You know, it was crazy. And then, of course, you know, next year, junior year, Jalen left for most of the year, like, you know, 3/4 of the year. He was gone. Show. I was running stuff, man. And then he came back, and then it was crazy because, like I thought it was going to be, like, you know, two alphas not being able to play with each other type thing. But you know, we kind of synergized really well in my mind. We were going to win it again. But, you know, the pandemic shut all that down. You know, we'll get one, you know, year.
Mm-hmm. And you talked about in that sophomore year for you, obviously kind of adjusting your attitude, getting back to kind of finding yourself. What went into that? How did you kind of click? What kind of clicked for you finally that you realized how to kind of turn your attitude around and kind of become the player you've now become?
Yeah, man. So, you know, being into what your team needs you to do, I bought into being a role player, you know, shots, create for my teammates. And then my junior year, they needed me to score. So I bought into being a scorer. I bought into being a leader. You know, so that's all that, you know, it was for me. It was just buying in and something greater than yourself.
And take us to that state championship run. I mean, that's obviously something that you never forget, something you can't ever take away from you. Going through that state championship run and coming away with the ring, what was that year like? What was it like getting that ring?
Man, so yeah, so, you know, that run was insane. You know, we played some really good teams on the way, some really close games. I had some big games, had some weak games. You know, Jalen, Jamari, you know, of course, they was amazing all year. But, you know, when that buzzer sounded and we won against Washington, Mike Foster and Deontay Long had a really good team. When we won against them, you know, it was like butterflies. You know, I looked around, like everybody was cheering. You know, it was almost sold out. I think we almost sold out Madison, the Badgers arena. So it was nuts, and, you know, it was a lot of yelling. it's a real feeling, especially like when they call your name and when you win it, you hold the championship trophy, that, and we jump up and down, all that fun stuff. And, especially the night, that night in the hotel when we got back, all celebrating things like that went into it, it was just something that, was real fun and real good to experience.
And you just listed two other guys you guys played against, and your state obviously still developing. It's kind of starting to come on the spotlight, though. There hasn't always been a ton of talent come out of the Wisconsin area. And in that game, you talk about a guy like Mike Foster, top 5 talent. Obviously, chances he can be a Division I player. All the guys we already talked about on your team. You see the kind of the rise of Wisconsin basketball now. What's the future look like?
Yeah, man. So, I think this year is the best class in Wisconsin basketball history in terms of, depth. Of course, it might not be the best in terms of star power, but, even then, we still got, 5 and 4 stars. Me, Pat, Tyrese Hunter, Dave Joffman. We got a ton of great players. But I think it's deep. I think like I read some other day, it was like 13 of our top 15 in our state rankings have Division I offers, which is insane. That's like, our state's real rounded. We're coming up, man. There's some in that milk that the Wisconsin boys get. You know what I'm saying? We on the way. I'm telling you, look out for Wisconsin.
No doubt. And in that team, you talk about you, Kobe, Jalen, and Jamari. All you guys are going to Division I. That's obviously already a sold thing, but you're talking about all 4 of you guys having pro potential down the road. That's a picture someday of you guys being together that's going to be remembered forever. What's the future hold for you guys? What's it going to be like seeing you guys develop and possibly all become NBA pro players?
Yeah, man. So, it was the first thing that, changed, my ideology, I'm going to be a pro is I was watching a YouTube video and I saw myself in like the 2K generated drafts. And I was like, oh, snap. Like, it's like that. I was like, wow, I could be there. Yeah, and like, Jalen's always in those, Jamar's in those, so like, it was like, it's like I can actually get there, and, with Jalen, of course, I think he's going to be top 3 pick next year going out of Duke if they get their season. I think Jamar definitely be a top 15 pick for sure. So, like those two, I have no doubt in my mind. Those are pros, just playing with them so much, you can, see the separation that they have. With Kobe, Kobe's the growth that Kobe has had in the last couple months is, it's the same, man. We work out together so much, and I just see him. He just grows, man. He gets better every day, lockdown defender, all that great stuff. So I feel like, all 4 of us definitely can get there. And I have no doubt in my mind that we will. And, universities and things like that, a state championship would be lit, 4 NBA players in the room and all that stuff. So that'd be something great to experience.
No doubt. And I want to touch up on Jalen. You've obviously been with him for a while. You guys have a great relationship. He's a guy that, because of all the moving stuff to IMG, what happened there, and then obviously coming back, his rankings kind of fluctuated, went down a little bit. But everyone talks about how special he is. Everyone says he still could be a top 5, top 3, possibly even the best player in one of the best classes we've seen in a long time. How special is Jalen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. No, I remember, my sophomore year when he was, arguably, when he was definitely number 1. Like, I remember the times. I remember watching him all the interviews. He's saying he's the number 1 player in the country. And, he was, in my opinion. So, seeing him come back and, it dropped, he has an excuse, man. It's because he didn't play a game for a while. Like, you can't, you have to keep him where he was last year because that's all you saw. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, though, like, I felt he definitely showed his dominance, high school season. I think he has like a 30-point triple-double on the low, something crazy like that. So, it's like he's a monster, man. In my opinion, he's the number 1 small forward in the country right now. You don't get no better than a 6'10" point guard, man. That's all I'm saying.
And you're alongside this guy for a lot of your high school career. What's some of the stuff you learned from him, both in terms of how you're now going to approach your recruiting process and just overall as a player?
Yeah, for sure. So, watching him, I often joke people, I'm just like, it's like, it's crazy, like I used to, like, we didn't get it along a while ago, but it's crazy because I've always learned from him, and like I've noticed, like, and my coaches noticed it too. They're like, hey, you starting to act like Jay a little bit. It's kind of funny, but, like I'm talking about, like, how he passes the ball, how he sees the game. Like, I'm real good at the no look now. Like, I've just kind of like how he does that. He looks at somebody else who's open. He finds the person who's more open, what I'm saying, like on the rim or something. So like I like learn how to, just how he dissects the defense, on the drive and how he passes. I just watch stuff like that, because he's a better passer than me for sure. So, I got to watch him, when he passes and how he looks for things like that and how he sets his teammates up and, try and learn from things like that.
You did say also earlier, we do know obviously Jamari transferred out as well to go play at Oak Hill. And obviously Jalen had the movement. And you talk about you obviously were dominating a 20-point per game guy, 7 rebounds per game guy. You and Kobe were really going off, and you obviously get Jalen to come in. You talk about how you didn't know if there was going to be an alpha dog battle kind of situation. How did you guys kind of situate that out?
Yeah, so what we did was, I'll be honest though, Kobe was the one who allowed me and Jalen to be me and Jalen, and I commend him from that 100 ways. Now, Kobe was really about winning, and I'm talking about Kobe was like he was really gonna he almost got a quadruple double, man. It's insane. Like that man was like Mr. 30-point triple double, and it was crazy how when Jalen came back, like how his numbers just dropped, and he honestly didn't care. He really just wanted to win, and he knew that me and Jalen getting the ball closer to the rim, and us getting opportunities to score was going to get us there. And the fact that he did that was great. So that allowed me and Jalen to kind of not clash, which was great because Kobe just removed his ego 100%. And 3 egos was going to be a lot worse than 2. So he knew that, and he did that for our team, and I commend him for that.
That's awesome. And Kobe also is a guy that's a high recruited prospect as well. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you guys have had some kind of conversation before. Would it be something that you guys would at least like to possibly look into, or possibly teaming up someday in college or at the pro level someday?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I would love to play with him again after high school. My guy.
Mm-hmm. And another big thing is when you talk about you being a guy that, as you talk about, you're obviously a high 4-star recruit, if not going to possibly hit on the verge of being a 5-star this year. I'm sure a lot of the big-time prep schools, national schedule schools have reached out to you about possibly wanting to go transfer there. Is that something that's ever appealed to you?
Nah. I mean, of course, it's like, do I go? Because, at this point, I'm thinking, right now, do I go to face competition that's almost college-like instead of my conference, which is, weak. It's just small kids, and I would obviously be a dominating in high school, but do I want to go dominate or do I want to go actually get better? So, it's something that I really question, but at the same time, I feel like, playing hard practices and things like that can kind of make up for it. But, either way it goes, I feel, I can get to that 5-star rank. But, I feel like, winning is more important, so I wouldn't get all that.
Mm-hmm. I know one that's been a big influence on a lot of guys that we're planning on moving to a prep school route is the current situation, and rather if there will even be a season in all the country, we don't know yet. Is that something that's also kind of going into that factor, that decision?
Yeah. So all that's involved, if we're only going to have half a season, it makes no sense for me to go prep. That would be, because you would go for a national schedule, but they're only talking about conference play, Mm-hmm. So if I can't have a national schedule, why would I go to prep school,
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And you did talk about, obviously, AU starting to possibly get back a little bit. You have your first games coming up. How excited you get back to New York?
Oh, my – it's like an itch in me, man. It's almost like I'm nervous because, I'm dying to get back on the floor, and I don't want to just be too jumpy and too energetic out there, But it's crazy. Like pickup games and all that stuff is fun, but honestly though, an actual game is so much more fun to me. I don't know why. It's just something about the competitive spirit I got. I'm looking forward to games.
And we look at you, obviously, as you talked about, you wanted to get your way, possibly become a 5-star even before high school started. What do you want to be able to improve? How much more have you improved over the past few quarantine months now that you're going to be able to add to your game?
Yeah, man. So, before, I would say I was more of a stretch 4. I could maybe go off the dribble a little bit, but right now, man, I'm really like a 2. My ball handles got so much better. I play a lot of points sometimes for my team. My speed and agility got better. I can guard my position. I can guard 2s. I can guard 3s. I can guard. Well, I really can guard the 2 through 5 right now. I got to get my quickness up a little bit more for those point guards. To actually pick them up full court rather than sag off them a little bit. But my versatility is just expanded so much. I went from guarding 4 and 5 to I can guard 2 through 5 consistently. I went from playing the 4 to playing 2 through 5. I can do it all, and I think that's what schools have seen. They say, oh, he can handle it, he can shoot it, he can get to the rim, he can defend. Like the next thing for me is my body, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. A couple more topics before I let you go. One is going back to recruiting process. Sometime in the next year, you're going to be committing. What's going to go to that decision? When are you kind of planning, or when did you want to commit by?
Yeah, so I wanted to commit before my senior year, but I have no clue if I'll get one. So I'm just gonna just kind of ride it out. Of course, I'm still gonna narrow my list because you can see the schools who want you who don't. But in terms of commitment, that's up for grabs right now. because they're saying you might not even get to go on the visits until after the first signing period. So the first signing period might even get pushed back. So I have no clue how things are going to go for me in terms of committing. But I know that I wanted to commit for my senior year. And in terms of narrowing it down, I'm going to narrow it down by who's the most real, who's contacting me the most. Like you can tell on Zooms, who's personalizing the Zoom, who's putting you in there, your highlights, your mixes, your face, who's putting you in the school, or versus the ones who are just showing you stuff, like who's actually interested in you. And, that's what I'm looking forward to and narrow my list down. And of course, I already have a pretty good idea who it is.
That's big time. And you did say obviously about the visits. Is that the biggest thing that you're going to wait for? Or you're just going to want to make sure you wait till you can go on some more visits until you can make a decision then?
Yeah. So, I have no – really, to be honest with you, this is my thing. I want to commit, because, like, schools tell me once I commit, they're done recruiting at my position. So, like, I want to commit before, like, somebody else who they said that to does it, go to school I want to go to, some type of things. So, I'm in talks with the schools. They're letting me know if they think people are close to committing. So, my timeline is still iffy. But, yeah. So I'm looking forward to it, though. That's big time. Going to your senior year commit would be huge.
No doubt, man. My last thing before I let you go is you're going to want to build a legacy for yourself both on and off the court. When you step away from this game someday in the future, what do you want that legacy to be?
When I step away from this game, man, I just want it to be that, he was a good player, but he was also a good person. I'm big on that stuff. When I see people outside, I always give them money, things like that. I always try to help. That's what I want to be known as. That person who makes people smile. I give you 30, and then after the game, give you a hug. Type of thing. So like I'm just one of those type guys, like those Magic Johnson, LeBron James type of dudes who are super nice dudes, super down to earth, super chill, things like that. So I want to be up there with them in terms of he was great on the court as well as outside of it.
That's awesome, man. And you did say obviously how you give money away to people. Is there a dream someday, if you make it big into the NBA, that you want to go back somewhere and be able to build some kind of community center, some kind of thing? Do you have kind of a dream that you'd like to do someday?
Yeah, man. I definitely want to give back to my city. The zip code, that Milwaukee has is one of the worst zip codes. And I want to get back to the city of Milwaukee. I live in a suburb, but, I still feel, that pain. So, I want to make sure, like, those poverty rates go down. You can get the schools and libraries and put them in areas that are not so good, and try and just, keep those kids off the streets. That's what I'm big on. So, I hopefully do want to get back to the city of Milwaukee one day.
That's awesome, man. I'm definitely excited to see what God's got in store for you, man. Best of luck, man. Keep doing your thing.
Hey, man, I thank you so much. Have a good one, man. Appreciate
Of course,
you.
man. You too. You're always welcome on, bro. God bless.
All right, man.